I am happy to be part of this year's SACC Executive Forum. This forum is a flagship event, highlighting the strong bilateral trade relations between Sweden and the US. I'm happy that it could once again be organized, albeit in a bit later in the year and in a different format than usual. We entered the COVID-19 pandemic in a situation of uncertainty. 2019 had seen the weakest economic growth since the financial crisis, hampered by the trade conflict between the US and China, increasing uncertainty and a restricted WTO. This year, global trade decreased by 15% in the first half of the year. For Sweden, it is important that the pandemic is not allowed to become an opportunity for protectionist forces to gain ground. There are alarming discussions at the moment about moving production home to Europe and achieving so-called strategic autonomy. My fear is that measures will be too far-reaching and taken too hastily. Sweden is fighting an important battle for the EU to become strategically resilient instead, remaining open to the world. More than ever, I believe we need to maintain and strengthen transatlantic trade relations. The US and the EU are each other's most important partner, rooted in our intertwined history. We have for decades shared strategic interests. At times we have our differences, but we engage bilaterally to iron out any issues and deepen our cooperation. This was truly the case when I visited Washington last fall and had a constructive, fruitful meetings with both Secretary Ross and United States Trade Representative Lighthizer. We also need to work jointly in the WTO and other multilateral forums to address global challenges. Our belief in international cooperation is also the reason why I have nominated Cecilia Malmström for the post of Secretary General of the OECD. With her experience at the highest political level, strong multilateral background and broad skill set, Cecilia Malmström is an excellent candidate. Her proven track record as European Commissioner and Swedish Minister for EU Affairs makes her particularly well suited to taking on the leadership of a member-driven organization such as OECD at this critical time. The US is Sweden's largest trading partner outside of Europe. A vast number of Swedish companies have been present in the US for a very long time, and for many of them the US is the most important market. And several medium-sized small companies also try to make it across the pond and succeed. Swedish companies have a good reputation in the US, and we are known to do what we say and say what we do. I find it quite impressive that Sweden is the 13th largest investor in the US overall, and that Swedish companies employ approximately 360,000 people all over the US. In these challenging times, it is important to recognize our historical bond and build for the future on established trust and mutual respect. One important vehicle for serving those objectives is the SACC's Talent Mobility Program, assisting students from both countries to work and do internships throughout the US and in Sweden. Of course, the COVID-19 pandemic has had a huge impact on the economy and trade. According to a recent survey by Team Sweden US, 85% of Swedish companies in the US have been negatively affected by the COVID-19 crisis. The impact differs between sectors. Automotive, manufacturing and agriculture have been the most negatively affected, whereas ICT and healthcare companies say that they have been less severely affected. Hopefully, these companies can bounce back. It is encouraging to note that only 4% of the respondents expected a high negative impact over the next 12 months. I would like to end by mentioning that Team Sweden US is a great network for promoting Swedish companies in the US and attracting investments from the US to Sweden. They are here to assist you. I encourage you to reach out to them today and for the future. I hope today's forum will be productive and that we will meet again in person next year in the House of Sweden in Washington. Thank you.